We begin today at the Mishnah at the bottom of Mem Daled Amud Beis, the last Mishnah on the bottom of the Amud. Zok the Heilige Mishnah, Shoyer Shahaya Yaitzel Isakol. A shoyer that Gordon killed a person, so you have to stone this shoyer to death. It's already after the Gemara Din. They're taking out the shoyer to be stoned. Vigdisha Bailov. And at that point, the owner of the shoyer is Makdish, the shoyer, Hektish, any Muktish. The Hektish doesn't take effect. At that point, this shoyer doesn't belong to him anymore. It's Asaba Na. Shachtai, if he shechts it at that point, Sara Yasa. The meat is also to eat, to have a na from, because as we learned before already, that after the psak din, it's asaba na. Now, if before Bezin finished paskening the din, that the shirt has to be stoned, hiktishe bailov, the owner was maktish, then muktish, then the hektish does take effect. It's still his. Vim shachtai, and if at that point he shechted it, besari mutter. The meat is mutter to eat. It's still mutter. It still belongs to him. A separate din, a new din, Zok the Mishnah, Masroi l'shay mechinam. A person gives his ox to a shay mechinam, or l'shayel, a person borrowed it from him, l'noise sachar, or a person that is a shaymer, but he's getting paid for this, or l'seicher, or a person that's a renter, he rented the ox from him. These are 4 different levels of shmira that you chayav for this. We'll learn later in the Masechta the differences between these different levels of shmira. But by all of them, the halacha is nichnesu tachas habaylim. They take the place of the owner, and they're responsible for any damages that it causes. And therefore, muad mishalem nezek shalem. The damages that happen with this animal that's a muad, you pay full pay, and the tam mishalem chatzi nezek. And for the tam, you pay chatzi nezek just like by the owner himself.
What's the
chiddush over here? That the shema has the same responsibility. Usually, the shema's responsibility is for the bailam. He has to return the object that he gets, that he's guarding, to give it back to the bailam. Here the Mishnah is saying that the shema's responsibility is not only for the bailam, it's also a responsibility that he has for b'chlal, for the world, that what he has in his possession, it becomes not his responsibility, that it shouldn't damage anybody else. And he takes the place of the bailam for that as well. Okay, we'll see in the Gemara, there's some details about this with this chilukim over here. First, the Gemara, the 2 halves of the Mishnah seemingly have no connection to each other. It's two different dinim completely. The Gemara starts with the first chilik of the Mishnah. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in the Braisa, Sher Shehemis, a Sher that killed someone, Achaloid Nigma Dinoi. So before Bezdin passing the din, that you have to stone it to death, Machroi Macher. If the owner sold it, then the sale takes effect. He sold it, Rashi says, it's being sold to be used to plow in the field. You can sell it. Higdishai Muktish. He was makdish it, the hektish takes effect. Shachtai, if you shechted it, besari mutter, you can eat the meat. Hechziroi shemer lebeis bailov. If a shemer had this shayr, and while it was by the shemer, it killed someone, but it's before the bezin paskin that you have to stone it. So the shemer returns it to the owner, muchser. What he returned is returned, and he's not going to have to pay for the fact that later this animal will be put to death because he returned it before Bezdin Paskin. So at that point, what he returns is returned. Now, however, Mishanigma Dinai, once Bezdin already Paskin the din that has to be put to death, so now it's not yours anymore. Mochre and Mocher, the sale doesn't take effect. Gdishe and Muktish, if you maktish it, it's not hektish. Shachtoi psari aser, if you shecht it, you can't eat the meat. And Echziroi, Shemer lebeis bailov, if the Shemer, after it was paskin that it's already has to be put to death, he returns it to the owner, and a muchser. What he returned is, he's returning to the owner a share that's already a psak in, that it's dead, it's asaba no, so what is he returning to the owner? It has no value at all. So he's going to have to pay for the damages of it. He's not returning the share the way he got it. However,
for which damages?
Well, he's returning the shirt itself. For the shirt, he has to pay the value of the shirt. He's not returning a shirt. The shirt that he's returning is a shirt that's also bahana.
But where did why was it Mechuyev Misa? It happened something.
Yeah, it happened by the Shomer. Sure. It happened by the Shomer, so he's responsible for this. Rav Yaakov says, Af mishanigma dinoi, even after, we're talking here about the case where it was by the Shomer, and the Shomer was negligent, and it went and it killed someone, and the Bezdin already paskined it in, that it's chayiv skila, but Echziroi Shomer lebailov, if the Shomer returns it to its owner, muchzer, It is considered to be returned, and he doesn't have to pay the owner for anything, any loss over here, even though this share is going to be put to death, but he doesn't have to pay for it. It's returned. So the Gemara now will explain what this machlokes here is. Shall we say, that the argument here is as follows. The Rabbanan's opinion is, when you have an item that you are a shaymer over it, you're guarding it, and now you have to return it. So if this now becomes asa b'hana, and you want to return it to the owner after it's asa b'hana, you can't tell the owner, here, I'm giving it to you physically as it is, even though it's asa b'hana. You don't, Rabbanan say you can't say that. So over here, once Bezdin paskin that it's a shayr niskal, and it's asa b'hana, you can't return it to the owner anymore. You can't say, here, this is yours. But when Rabbi Yaakov Savar, Rabbi Yaakov holds, that by Yisuri Ano, you do say, even though it's asa b'hana, the owner can't do anything with it, but nevertheless, the shayr physically is the same shayr that he took, and you can tell the owner, here, I'm giving you back the shayr as is. That's what it seems like the machlokes over here is. It's interesting. Machlokes, the Rishayim here, Tosfos brings up. This is also connected to the Shaila in the Gemara and Gittin about hezek she'ein nikar. This is a kind of a damage where it becomes asa b'hana, but there's no gashmi is the thing that it's nikar, that there's a damage here. Right? But it's asa b'hana midin teira al pi teira. So the question is, could you return it in such a way? And Rashi says, and this is going to be relevant for the Hemshech of the Gemara here. What's another example of this kind of halacha? Whether you could return something that's asa b'hana. If someone gave you something to guard, and it became chametz she'ava olav Pesach, and chametz after Pesach becomes asa b'hana, could you give back this item of chametz to the owner and say, here, I'm giving it to you back. I'm giving it back to you as is. Now it's asa b'hana. Doesn't matter. I'm giving it to you back physically the way it is. So it's the same kind of a shaila. Could you give it back in such a way? As she says, the shaila would be by gzela, right? If a person steals chametz, and then he keeps the chametz in his possession over Pesach, and then afterwards he's going to be Mekayim ve'eshavus gzela asher gozal, and he's giving it back. But it's asa b'hana. Could you give it back as is, or do you have to pay for it now? Because now it's asa b'hana. That's where this machlokes comes up. Here it's later in the Masechta in Perek HaGozel Leitzim, as we'll see there. Okay, so the Gemara says that we can't say that this is the pshat of the machlokes. Why not? So the Gemara asks, Amar Rabbe, second. Amar Rabbe says, the kula al ma'imrin b'suriyano harei shalach lefanecha. No, we have to say that everybody agrees when it comes to Yisuri Hana that a shomer or a gazlin could give it back to the owner, even though it's asa b'hana, and he can say, here, this is the item, take it as is. Physically, it's the same item, you can give it back. Why must he say that? 1 second. So it says right now, the imkain, because if you're going to say that that's the machlokes of Rabbi Yaakov and the Rabbanon, nifloig le'inyin chametz Pesach. The same machlokes between Rabbi Yaakov and the Rabbanon here regarding the Shreir HaNiskal should be the exact same machlokes regarding chametz by Pesach. And Rashi here brings, this is a beferish Mishnah later in Perek HaGozel Leitzim, that a person can say Arei Shalach Lefanecha by chametz she'ava olav Pesach, and over there there's no machlokes about it. So why over here suddenly by the Shreir HaNiskal, which seems to be the exact same thing, the Shreir that became now asa b'hana, and here there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yaakov and the Rabbanon whether you can give it back or not. So therefore, no, by chametz there's no machlokes about this. You for sure could just give it back as is. So therefore the Gemara says, Elohacho, we must say that over here there's an additional point to this machlokes, and that is as follows: Begoimrin dinoi shel shayr shaloi b'fanov kemiflagi. The argument over here is when Bezdin is paskening the din that this shayr has to get skila, does Bezdin pasken this din only when the shayr is in the Bezdin, has to be in front of the Bezdin, or no? It doesn't. The Bezdin doesn't even have to have the shayr at all. They can pasken this din without the shayr being in Bezdin, and that will explain the machlokes here. So the Gemara explains that Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan hold ein goimrin din shel shayr ela b'fanav. Bezdin can only paskin the din that the shayr gets skila only if the shayr itself is here. So therefore now, the Amalei, the owner could tell the shomer, say nehali, if you would have given me back this shayr and you wouldn't have brought it to the Bezdin, then I would run away with this shor somewhere to an agam, to a swamp, which means in a place where there's a lot of other oxen there, and then Bezdin would never be able to paskin that the shor is chayiv skila because it wouldn't be in the presence of the Bezdin. It would be mixed with other shvarim, with other oxen. Hashte, but now what did you do? Atfaste l'turoi biyoda. You grabbed my ox that I gave you to guard in your hands, and the le'achilna l'shtor be'edine ba'adei. That I should not, I will not be able to have the Nintayre with it. Second. Hashte atfaste l'turoi biyoda, the le'achilna l'shtor be'edine ba'adei. So the tiny that he has to him is that you grabbed the shayr and you brought it to the Bezdin. And therefore, right, I can't fight against the psak din of the Bezdin because Bezdin has the shayr right in front of them, and they're going to paskin that the shayr is chayiv skila. Yeah, that's what's talking about it exactly. The case over here is that the shomer went and brought with his own hands. He delivered this shayr to the Bezdin. So therefore, over here, because he went biyadayim and brought it to the Bezdin, so that's why he can't say to the owner, here's the shayr. Take your shayr. What do you mean take your shayr? You brought it to the Bezdin. You had a chiyuv to return it to me. Why did you go and bring it with your own hands to the Bezdin? So in such a case, when he brought it with his own hands to the Bezdin, so over here, the Bava Kama holds that he can't say Shalach lefanecha. So Rashi explains a little bit better. One second. Rashi explains a little bit better over here what the Gemara is saying. Rashi says the whole introduction that the Gemara says that the owner could say, I would have taken the shayr and ran away with it to the agam. That's not his real taina, because if so, by chametz you could say similar. The bailam could have a taina to the shomer. Why did you return the chametz to me after Pesach? Why didn't you give the chametz to me before Pesach? If you would have given it to me before Pesach, I would have sold it to a guy. I would have done something with it. I would have sold it and made money off of it. Why coming to me now after Pesach? That taina is the same by chametz like it is by the shayr. But the main taina though over here is that by the chametz, the shomer didn't do something biyadayim to destroy the value of this chametz. It just passed, Pesach passed, and the derech mamela it became asabano. Here though, the main taina is the second part. You brought the shayr into Bezdin with your hands. You have a chiv to return the shayr to me, and then I'll do with it what I want. I'll make sure that Bezdin doesn't get to it. You went and with your own hands brought the shayr into Bezdin. So therefore, you can't now say, the shayr is still alive, take it, I don't have to give you back anything else. That's the main taina that the bailam has to the shomer.
So the shomer is called, he has to pay.
Yeah, that's the Bava Kama.
If there wasn't a shomer, if it's a balabas, he's allowed to do that?
If he could run away with it, he could. Yeah, we can't stop him. Yeah, he could run away with it. Yeah, but you can't.
You want away from Torah?
Bezdin can't give the chiyuv a skila. Whether it's could be, you could say that it's not the right thing for the owner to do such a thing. But still, on the other hand, though, the shomer has the chiyuv to give back an object, or in this case, the shayr that he's guarding, back to the owner. That's his chiyuv. You don't have to deliver it to the Bezdin. Who asked you to deliver it to the Bezdin? You give it back to the bailam. What the bailam does with it later, that's his business. He can run away with it, even if it's not the right thing to run away, but he could. So the fact that he delivered it to Bezdin, that's he's going to be chayiv for this now. However, Rabbi Yaakov holds, when Bezdin paskins that this shayr is chayiv skila, the shayr doesn't have to be there at all. So it doesn't make a difference if you brought it to Bezdin, did not bring it to Bezdin. So the Amalei, the shomer tells the owner, sof, in the end of the day, migma have a gemiri leiladina. Bezdin is going to paskin the din that this shayr is chayiv skila. The fact that I brought it to Bezdin doesn't make any difference. So therefore, this is the same like by chametz. After Pesach passes, but derech mamela becomes asabano. After the shayr Gordon killed, it now becomes asabano. So it's the fact that I brought it into Bezdin doesn't add anything to that. So therefore, over here we say that he could say, here, take it as is. This is yours. Okay, so now the Gemara brings the source of this machlokes in the psukim, whether the Bezdin has to paskin the din dafka in front of the shayr or not. It says the Gemara, my time the Rabbanon. What's the source of the Rabbanon? That it has to be in front of the shayr, because in the pasuk it says asher yisokol, that you have to stone to death the shayr, and it says v'gam ba'ol of yumos, and you put the owner to death as well, which means misi b'dei shemayim. But hidarshins kemises habaylim, kach mises asher. We compare the two. Ma baylim b'fneihem, just like when you mechayev a person misa, has to be in front of the person. Av shayr b'fonav. So too when you mechayev a shayr misa, has to be in front of the shayr. But for Rabbi Yaakov says, even if we compare the two, but not regarding this point, not regarding the fact that it has to be in front of the shayr, Because Bishleim Bailim B'nei Tainanino. The reason why he could only paskin against a person that is chayiv misa in his presence, because he can speak for himself, he can argue. El Shayr Bartanasahu, a shayr can speak for itself. Why should the psak din of this shayr, the chayiv misa for the shayr, have to be in front of the shayr? Therefore, Rabbi Yaakov also doesn't have to be in front of the shayr. Okay, the next subject that the Mishnah brought up was regarding a shaymer. Masrei l'shaymer chinam l'shayel chulu. You give a shayr to the shaymer chinam and the shayel and so on, so they go in the place of the bailam and they're responsible for any damages that happens. Okay, so talk to the Gemara Tan Rabban. In Abraisa, we learned about this as follows: Arba nichnesu tachas bailam. There are four that take the place of the bailam to guard the shayr. Ve'elu hein shaymer chinam v'hashayel and the noisa sachar, which is also the shaymer sachar v'haseicher and or renter. Now, in all these cases, what's going to be the halacha? Hargut tamin, if the shayr gored and killed someone when it was a tam, so neragin, just like the din always is with a shayr, so you kill the shayr. But a peturim in a kaifer, because it's still a tam, so there's no kaifer by a tam, so you potter from kaifer. Muadin, if it killed someone as a muad, neheragin, so then the shayr has to be put to death. Umishaman is a kaifer, and you have to pay the kaifer as well. Over here, who pays the kaifer? The kaifer, I think the one that pays the kaifer is the bailam of the shayr, not the shaymer. The bailam of the shayr, they're the ones that need a kapara for what happened with their shayr, and you have to pay the kaifer for this.
You said he goes in the place of the bailam.
Yeah, Nechanami, you go in the place of the bailam for the damages that he causes, and for that. But the kaifer, only the bailam, the owner has to pay the kaifer. Now the Braisa says v'chayavin lahachzer the mesher lebailov. Because now the shayr is being put to death, so this shaymer has to pay the value of this shayr that he was supposed to guard, and now it Gordon killed and it has to be put to death, so he has to pay for the owner the value of the shayr. Now the Braisa concludes, chutz m'shaymer chinam, except the shaymer chinam is not going to have to reimburse the bailim when the shayr has to be killed. Okay, so this is what the Gemara is going to discuss over here. Why are we saying except the shaymer chinam? Shaymer chinam is also responsible to guard what he has in his possession as a shaymer. Why chutz m'shaymer chinam? So it was said about this braisa to try to explain this braisa. Hey chidami, what is it talking about over here? Idenatre, if the shaymer properly guarded this ox that was in his possession, so then if it went and it damaged or it killed someone, even after it was guarded properly, so in all cases, you should be putted to reimburse the bailim for what happened there, because it's something that was oinus. He guarded it. Now, if the shaymer, what? Yeah, all the shaymer, they should all be putted to reimburse the bailim. If it was not guarded, so then I feel a shaymer chinam mechayev. So then the shaymer chinam, it's a pshia. He's responsible for this. He should reimburse the bailim for this, that this shayr now has to be put to death. So what's the difference here? So the answer to this question is as follows. What are we talking about over here? The notre shmira pachusa. It was guarded, the shaymer guarded it with a basic shmira. V'le notre shmira mo'ola. It wasn't guarded with a extra good shmira. Now, we'll see soon, the Gemara, the Mishnah, the next Mishnah on Amud Beis, Shmira Pchusa, a basic Shmira means that you close the door in the barn, that when a Ruach Matsuya, a regular wind comes, the door will not open up, and it's protected there. But if an unusual wind comes, it could blow the wind could blow the door open. So Shmira Pchusa is the basic Shmira. And Shmira Mu'ula is extra good Shmira, to lock it extra good that no wind will open it up. So now the Gemara explains, this is the difference between the responsibility of Shmira by a Shaymer Chinam and the others. Shaymer Chinam, when it comes to the Shaymer Chinam, Kol Saloi Shmirasa, his responsibility of Shmira is done. He did what he has to do. The Shaymer Chinam, so his level of Shmira is only this basic level of Shmira. Okay, besides what we always know, that a Shaymer Chinam is responsible for Pshia, and he's not responsible for Gneva Vaveda. This is another thing that's included over here in the difference between a Shaymer Chinam and a Shaymer Sachar. A Shaymer Chinam has to do a basic Shmira. And he did that basic Shmira, so therefore he's going to be potted to reimburse the Bailam. But Hanoch, the others though, they have to do a better Shmira. And therefore, like Shmira, so their Shmira, they did not do the full Shmira that they're responsible for. They didn't do the Shmira Mu'ula, and therefore they're going to have to reimburse the Bailam after it gored and killed someone and the Shred had to be put to death. That's the Pshat of the Chiluk. Okay, but now the Gemara though has a problem with this Pshat, with what it said in the Reisha of the Braisa. This explains the Seifa of the Braisa, where it makes a distinction between the Shaymer Chinam and the other Shaymrim regarding whether he has to reimburse the bailam. But how about the payment of the kaifer? In the beginning of the Braisa, the payment of the kaifer. So how do we explain that over there? Why should you have to pay kaifer if there was a shmira pechusa? Should you have to pay kaifer when there was a basic shmira? So here the Gemara explains that this depends on a machlekes. Says the Gemara, B'chlal, this is a shaila b'chlal. Do you have to pay kaifer when an animal goes out and gores and kills when the owner did shmira pechusa? He did the basic shmira. Do you have to pay kaifer for that? So let's see. The Gemara is going to say
kaifer when it's a muad.
Again, yeah, only when it's a muad, correct.
So I mean, the Shemu watched it 3 times happen.
It became a muad. Lavdafka became a muad in the possession of the shemer. Could be it became a muad before. We learned already before about that. If it was a muad in the possession of the shemer, then it go okay, whatever. But now it's a muad. It's a muad now. So the question of it, the Gemara is going to focus on what we just explained regarding the seifa of the braisa, regarding reimbursing the owner. How does that fit with what it says in the reisha of this braisa regarding the fact that the muad you will have to pay the kaifer? Says the Gemara Amri, so they said as follows, Kaman, according to whose opinion does this go according to? Ik Rab Meir, does it follow the opinion of Rab Meir? And Arashi explains here, this is a detail, very important pshat here in the Gemara, what Rab Meir holds, and this you see in the Mishnah in the next Amud, Rab Meir holds by a muad, it's enough by a muad, it's not enough to guard it with a shmira pchusa. You have to guard it with a shmira mu'ula. Rab Meir holds that both a tam or a muad, you have to guard it with an extra good shmira. So therefore, if it's just a basic shmira, like I said, you just lock the door of the barn and a strong wind, unusual wind, could open it up, you're still going to be chayav for that. So l'chayda, we have to say that this price here goes like that opinion of Rab Meir. Why? Because that will explain why in the reisha of the Mishnah you're going to be chayav the kaifer. Because the shmira pechusa that we just explained, it was done over here, is not enough of a shmira to pater you from paying kaifer, because you should have done a shmira ma'ula, a better shmira. Okay, so now that fits, that's good. But says the Gemara, if so, there's another detail though that Rab Meir holds. It's going to be a problem with the seifa of the braisa. Why? Because what does Rab Meir hold? The Amar Rab Meir also says seiche k'shem mechinam. The halacha of a renter, he has the responsibility to guard the same like a shem mechinam. So this is a machlokes, as we'll see here, regarding the status of a seicher. In the Torah, it doesn't say who a seicher is chayiv like, whether a shem mechinam or a shem mesachar. So Rab Meir says a seicher has the halacha like a shem mechinam. So if so, then now the question is, in the seifa of the Braisa, when it says that Shemer is different, that a Shemer, it's enough if he does the basic Shmira, and therefore he doesn't have to reimburse the Bailim, because he did do a basic Shmira. But the question is, listen, it should say, Chutz mishem mechina v'aseicher. The Seicher is the same as the Shem Mechinim according to Rab Meir. So why did it just say, Chutz mishem mechina? It should have said Seicher as well. On the other hand, v'ik Rabbi Yehuda. So if you're going to say that this brayso goes like Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar that said Seicher k'noisa sacha dami, that Seicher has a halacha like a person that's getting paid for the shmirah, and therefore the brayso in the Sefer only said chutz mishem mechinam, and it did not say chutz miseicher because the Seicher is like a shem mesachar. So, but if so, the question though is, how are you going to explain the reish of the brayso? Nisni, you should say chutz mishem mechinam. That over here, the shem mechinam is potter to reimburse the bailim because he did a basic shmira, and for that he's potter. But then it should also say in the reish that v'kulan b'muadin peturin l'inyan kaifer. In the reish, it should say that the potter kaifer. Why are they potter kaifer? So this is another detail of Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda holds, and we'll see this in the next Mishnah here, that by a muad, when you do a shmira pechusa, even the basic shmira, you potter. Rabbi Yehuda has a unique opinion that by the tam, you need a shmira mo'ula. You need a better shmira. But by a muad, you only need a basic shmira. So if this is going like Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, so then regarding the reisha of the brayso, where it says that you chayiv to pay the kaifer, but why you chayiv to pay the kaifer? If you did a basic shmira, you should be potter from paying the kaifer by the muad. That's the Gemara Shaila. So basically what the Gemara is doing over here is bringing Rab Meir and Rab Yehuda. Rab Meir and Rab Yehuda, it's two different subjects. Rab Meir, B'nigeya to Muad, holds that you must do a Shmira Mu'ula. On the other hand, Rab Meir holds that the halacha of a Shem Mechinam is like a Shem Mesachar. So according to Rab Meir, the seif of the brayso doesn't fit. Why does it only say Chutz of Shem Mechinam? It should have said Chutz of Shem Seicher as well. On the other hand, Rabbi Yehuda holds that when it comes to a muad, you have to have a shmira mu'ula. So if so, the reish of the brayso doesn't fit. Why does it say that when it comes to muad, you're going to be chayiv? He did a basic shmira, you should be potter. On the other hand, Again, did I say it right? According to Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, when it comes to muad, you have to have only a shmira pchusa. I think I may have said shmira muad. According to Rabbi Yehuda, by a muad, you have to have a shmira pchusa alone. That's it. Basic shmira is good enough. So now the problem is with the reisha of the brayse. Why does the reisha of the brayse say that you chayiv to pay for the kaifer? He did that basic shmira. The seif of the brayse fits according to Rabbi Yehuda that it's only chutz m'shem v'chinam, not seicher, because the seicher is like a shem v'sachar and you need a better shmira. So that's the problem over here. The reisha and the seifa of the brayse don't fit according to either opinion.
But according to Meya, the paying and the kaifer are two different things. You know,
yeah, and
chayiv one and pat another.
Yeah. Two separate things.
Who doesn't say that?
Okay, according to Rabbi Yehuda, for both of them, you have to have the Shmira Pechusa. Yeah. Okay, so the Gemara has two ways how to resolve this. Omer Rav Huna bar Chinaneh, so Rav Huna bar Chinaneh says, Hamani Rabbi Eliezer. There's a third opinion. There's Rabbi Eliezer. What's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion? The Omar, Rabbi Eliezer, when it comes to the Shmira of a Mu'ed, Rabbi Eliezer is actually very machmer. More than Rabbi Meir and more than Rabbi Yehuda. This is all the next Mishnah here, we'll see. Rabbi Eliezer says, the Omar, Ein lo shmira el sakin. Once you have a shor that's a muad and it's so wild, no shmira is going to be good enough for it. You can never come and say, oh, I guarded it and I'm potter. The only thing you can do is shecht it and eat the meat. That's it. So regarding that, we understand now the reisha. That's why in the reisha, because it's a muad, you're going to be chayiv kaifer because you didn't do a good enough of a shmira. But on the other hand, when it comes to the Sefer, where it talks about reimbursing the owner, so over here, a Shem Chinam only has to do a basic Shmira. And that's even if it's a Shem Muad. He only has to do a basic Shmira, and therefore, he says the Shem Chinam will be potter to reimburse the Bailam if he did a basic Shmira, and the Seicher does not have to do like a Shem Chinam, because regarding the halacha of a Seicher, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that the Seicher is like a nice Sachar. The Seicher has the halacha like a Shem Sachar, that you have to do a better Shmira. So therefore, only the Shem Chinam is an exception that he doesn't have to reimburse the Bailam. So the Reisha and the Seif of the Braisa can fit. It's one shot. Abaye Omar, Abaye says, Loilam, Rav Meir. No, we could go back to Rav Meir's opinion. That Rav Meir holds that when it comes to the mu'id, so for the mu'id you have to have a shmira mu'ula. And therefore, because in this brayse he only did a shmira pechusa, so therefore in the reisha you're going to be chayiv to pay the kaifer. Our problem was in the sefer. So why in the sefer does it only say chutz shem chinam? It should have said chutz mishem chinam and seicher. Says the Gemara, okay, the machlev rabbe baravua. So later, or in Bava Metzia, we have also in the Gemara over there switches the opinions regarding the shaila regarding the seicher, and he said v'tani, and he learned seicher ketzet mishalem. Who does a seicher pay like? So he said Rab Meir oimer k'shem esachar. Rab Meir is the one that said that the shemer is actually like a shem esachar, and Rabbi Yehuda oimer k'shem echinam. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that said it's like a shem echinam. The opposite of what we said before. So it fits. In the Seif of the Braisa, it only says chutz m'shem echinam because the Seicher taka has the halacha like the shem esachar. Now the Gemara brings another halacha regarding this. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Masar Sheirei l'Shem Echinam. If you give your ox to a Shem Echinam, so then Rabbi Lazar said, Hizik, if this ox in the possession of the Shem Echinam was mazik, chayiv, the Shem Echinam will be responsible for that. Like we had in the Mishnah, that he takes the place of the owner and he's chayiv. Huzak, but if this shor got damaged, then potter. The Shem Echinam will be potter for the damages that happened to it. Okay, so this is very hard to understand. Why should we make such a distinction? Says the Gemara, Amri. So they said about this statement of Rabbi Eliezer, or Rabbi Eliezer that is, what are we talking about over here? Hey Chidami, what's the case? If the Shemer took responsibility for damages that will happen, which means whether the damages that it causes or whether it will get damaged, so then what's the difference? Just like if it damages someone else, so he took responsibility for that. He also took responsibility. If the shor gets damaged, you should have to reimburse the owner for this. If he made a clear condition with the owner, I'm not taking upon myself the responsibility of damages. No damages, not what it damages someone else, and not if it gets damaged. So then I feel his iknabili potter. So it should be potter if it damages someone else as well. So what's the reason for this distinction? So Rav explains the case here is lo'olam shekibul olav shmiras nezakov. The case here is he did accept upon himself to guard it for damages. But now what Rabbi Elazar was talking about is kagoin shehikir boy sheol nakchen. That when he got this shor, it was clear he took it as a shor nakchen, a shor that's wild, it's a muad. And therefore we say as follows: V'stama de milsa, dolei ozal iu umazik achrine kiblalei. So over here, the stam of the milsa is, if they didn't make up anything, the stam of the milsa is that when he's accepting this wild shayr, he's accepting it for what he sees it is. And therefore he's accepting to take upon himself that it should not go and damage others. He sees it's a wild shayr. So he probably accepted upon himself that he's going to guard it specially, that it shouldn't guard others. So that he did accept it upon himself. Kibla, that he accepted. But that other oxen should come and gore and damage this shayr, that he probably didn't think that such a thing could happen. If he sees that there's such a wild shayr, he's thinking to himself, no other shayr is going to come and damage it. Every other shayr is afraid of the shayr. It's a big wild shayr. So that he probably didn't accept upon himself. So therefore Rabbi Elazar said, in such a case, if they didn't make up anything specific, we could assume that he was makabel upon himself that it shouldn't damage anyone else, but that it should not get damaged, that he didn't accept upon himself. That he didn't expect could happen with such a wild kind of a shayr. Sagt the Mishnah, sagt the Heilige Mishnah, Koshroi, Baila, V'Meseira. So here, it brings this three-way machlokes regarding the level of shmirah necessary for a shayr, whether it's a tam, whether it's a mu'ud. So the Mishnah says, if a person the owner ties his shayr with a meseira, with the reins of the shayr, with the leash of the shayr. So you tied it. Or an evanal b'fun of karoi, and he closed the door properly. And the yatzav hizik, and still the shayr went out and gored and damaged someone. Echad tam, whether it's a tam, ve'echad mu'id, whether the shayr is a mu'id, the halacha of shmir is the same. Chayiv is going to be responsible for the damages that happened. This is Rab Meir's opinion. Now, why is he responsible? So Rashi explains the point that we learned before already. This kind of shmirah is called a shmirah pchusa. If you tie your shayr with a leash, or you just close the door, a basic, just close the door, a shayr can kick the door open, or a wind could come, a ruach she'eina mitzuya. So that's not enough of a shmirah. So therefore, it's not a shmirah mu'ula. It's not a proper good shmirah. So either way, by a tam and a mu'ud, you're going to be chayiv for this. Rabbi Yudah says, no, there's a difference. Tam chayiv. By a tam, you have to do a better shmirah. Umu'ed pater. For a mu'ed, the basic shmirah is good enough. You're going to be pater. Shanama, because by the mu'ed it says, v'lo yishmerenu balav, the owner didn't guard it. V'shamaruza. With the basic shmirah, it's good enough by a mu'ed. This is a very interesting thing. Right over here, you see that the Torah is saying, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that by a tam, you have to have a better shmirah even than a mu'ud, even though the mu'ud is wild, and by the mu'ud we're more machmer. Okay, we'll see soon in the Gemara about this. The Gemara doesn't directly address this, but this is a very interesting thing that you see, that there's more of a chiyuv to guard it by a tam, more than a mu'ud. Yeah, we had it before in the Gemara, yeah. Now, here's the third opinion that we mentioned before here. When it comes to a mu'ud, for sure a mu'ud has to have a better shmirah. Not only does it have to have a better shmirah, there's actually no shmirah that's going to be good enough for it. The only thing you can do with a shayr mu'ud is, you can shecht it. That's it. Otherwise, if it goes out and it gores, it damages, you're going to be responsible no matter with what shmirah you do. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to explain over here this drasha from V'lo yishmerenu ba'alav, explain the machlokes of Rab Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara might time it Rab Meir. What's the reason of Rab Meir? Rab Meir holds that the tam and mu'ud are the same. And by both of them, a shmirah pechusa, basic shmirah is not good enough. You have to have an extra special shmirah. So what's his reason? The reason is because Rab Meir holds stam shvarim la b'cheskas shimur kaimi. If not for the Torah obligating a person to guard his shvarim, so then stam azoi, a person does not guard his shvarim. He does not guard his oxen at all. He lets them go around. That's what this expression here in the Gemara means. Stam shvarim. The Tosfos clarifies. We had this expression in the Gemara before. But before, when the Gemara brings this, it's talking about the nature of the ox itself. Over here, it's not talking about the nature of the ox. It's talking about the obligation of a person. If not for the Torah obligating a person to guard his shayr, so stam, a person just allows the shayr to go free. And Avamar comes the Torah and says, the tam chayiv, that if your shayr tam damages someone, you're going to be chayiv for this. So what does that show you? So from this you understand that you need at least a basic shmirah to lock the door, to tie it with a leash. And then the Torah writes again by a mu'ud that you have chayiv to pay. And there the Torah says because he didn't guard it. So why is the Torah saying again that you chayiv here because you didn't guard it? Here the Torah is saying that not only the basic shmira that you could understand from a tam you're obligated, but it says again that you need an extra special shmira for it. That's what you see by the muad. And then Rab Meir holds v'yalef negicha letam negicha lemuad, because it says by the Torah negicha by tam and negicha by muad. So there's a gzeira shava. You compare the two. They're just like by muad. You have to have the extra special shmira. The same thing is by the tam as well. You have to have the extra special shmira. So they're the same.
It's an interesting.
That's Rab Meir's opinion.
Interesting but the pasuk says,
Yeah. That's by the muad.
Right, that's the muad. In other words, what the Torah trying to tell you, you know that something's going on, and you're still not watching it.
Right.
And you don't learn from it.
So it sounds like it's saying this dafka by the muad.
Yeah.
Anachanami. But then the Gemara says, though, that there's a gzeira shava. And the gzeira shava says that we apply the same level of shmira by the tam. However, Rabbi Yehuda that says that there's a difference between the tam and the muad, Rabbi Yehuda holds as follows. This is a very interesting limit also. It says the Gemara, he holds stam shvarim b'cheskas shimakaimi. Even if the Torah would not obligate you and say that if your shirt tam gordon dam is yechayiv, even before that a person knows that he has an obligation to guard his shirt. So the basic shmira, even before the Torah says, he knows he has to do. Now, Amar Achmone tam neshalim. When the Torah says by a tam that you have to pay for the damages, why is the Torah saying this? The Torah is coming to add that you're chayiv to pay not only when you didn't do a basic shmirah, but the Torah is coming to say that even if you didn't do an extra special shmirah, that you're still going to be chayiv to pay. That's what the Torah is coming to say. By the tam already, the Torah is saying that you need a special shmirah. Then when the Torah comes and repeats it and says by the muad that you have to pay because you didn't guard it, why is the Torah saying it again? According to Rabbi Yehuda, already by the time the Torah is saying that you need an extra special shmirah. The Navel Shmirah Mul, it's saying again that you need an extra special shmirah. So now this is the rule is whenever the Torah says the same thing twice, why is it saying it twice? It becomes a miyut. This comes actually to say that no, over here you don't have to do that extra special shmirah. The Torah is coming to exclude and to say that by the muad you don't have to do this extra special shmirah, only by the tam. Now, if you'll argue and say, like what Rab Meir said, that we should compare it to, this gzeira shava, to say that the same level of shmirah that there is by the tam applies to the muad as well. So this Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold to this. He says, no, hamiyat rachmana. But you see over here that the Torah is excluding, that the muad is unique, and we don't compare the muad to the tam. Because here the Torah says by the muad, v'lo yishmeranu lezeh v'lo la'acher. That the level of shmirah the Torah is saying that's required over here is by the muad and not by the tam. So therefore by the tam we say you have to have a shmirah mu'ula, but by the muad, because there's a miyut, acha miyut, that comes to say that you don't have to have the shmirah mu'ula, and it's enough to have a basic shmirah. Huh? No, there's no kavachaymer. No kavachaymer. The pasuk is saying v'lo yishmerenu lezeh, that by the muad a basic shmirah is good enough.
No, but you can say kavachaymer.
No.
No.
The Gemara does not say this. I mentioned before this question when I learned the Mishnah that it's a very hard thing to understand. Why should the muad be more lenient than the muad, than the tam that is? But it's psukim. The pasuk is saying beferish that the v'lo yishmerenu, that by muad is a less of a shmirah and not by the tam. But the Gemara asks, how could you dash on this from the words v'lo yishmerenu to say that tam and muad are different? V'hami boyale lelav. Don't you need it for the lav? Now this lashon of the Gemara is a little bit hard. Taisa says here, there's another girsa. V'hami boyale legufe. That the Gemara is asking when it says v'lo yishmerenu, don't you need it for the halacha itself to say that by muad you only need a shmirah pchusa? How do you know to learn out from here not to compare tam to muad? That's what the Gemara is really asking. Rashi is guided like we have in our Gemara, but it means the same thing. Do we need it for what the pasuk says, v'lo yishmerenu, to say that by muad, even with shmira, that it's enough shmira p'chusa? But how do you know to make this exclusion that tam and muad are not the same? So the Gemara says, yeah, we can make this exclusion because im ken nichtav rachmana v'lo yishmer. If the Torah would just want to repeat and say this miyat achamiyot, it would just say v'lo yishmer. Why is it using the term v'lo yishmerenu and you didn't guard it? It's only by the muad and not by the tam. That by the muad it's enough a shmira p'chusa, but by the tam you have to have a shmira mu'ula. That's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Now the Gemara brings actually a third opinion. Tanya Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, echad tam ve'echad mu'ed, shesham shmira pchusa pater. That both for the tam and the mu'ed, a basic shmira is good enough. So he holds similar to Rab Meir, but Rab Meir said that both by the tam and the mu'ed, you have to have a shmira ma'ula. Rav Lazar ben Yaakov says, no, a basic shmira for both of them is good enough. What's the explanation for Rav Lazar ben Yaakov's opinion? My time, Savalak Rab Yehuda, because he holds like Rab Yehuda, the Omar mu'ed b'shmira pchusa sagilei. That we learn out from this miyat achamiyat by the mu'ed that a basic shmira is good enough. And then he holds that there's no exclusion. There's no exclusion to say that this is only by mu'ed and not by tam. And v'yalech negicha l'tam v'negicha l'mu'ed, and he learns out the gzeira shaveh to compare tam to the mu'ed, that a basic shmira is good enough for both of them. Okay, so those are the three opinions regarding this inyan. Besides the other opinion, we had already another opinion in the Mishnah, which was Rabbi Eliezer in the Mishnah that said that by a mu'ed, the only thing you could do with it is shechted. Okay, now the Gemara though says, Omar Avada Barave Leipata Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda didn't pater the mu'ed. Right? Rabbi Yehuda said that the mu'ed, once you do a basic shmira, you'll be pater. But he says, really, it does not, like I said before, simply it would come out that this is a leniency by a mu'ed. By a tam, you must do a very good shmira. By a mu'ed, if you did a basic shmira, you're already pater. So Rabbi Barava says, no. It's not going to come out to be a leniency by a mu'ed. Why not? Because like pater Rabbi Yehuda letzad hador shabai. Rabbi Yehuda only patered the second half to pay the nezek shalem, to pay the full nezek, that the Torah patered if you did a basic shmira. However, the first half that you have to pay, the chatzi nezek that you pay by a tam, and there the Torah says that you pay as long as you didn't do a shmira mohula, that remains. That you're still going to have to pay. That's b'mekayim medes. So now, based on what Ravada Barava says, you can see if here it comes out that by a mu'ed, when Rabbi Yehuda says that you have to do only a shmira pchusa, it's not a kula. It's not saying, mu'ed is more kal than a tam. No, because the payment of the tam remains. If you didn't do a shmira ma'ula, you anyway is going to have to pay the chatzi nezek. The mu'ed is machmer, that you have to pay another half. That chumrat, that you have to pay the full pay, the other half. Over there, the Torah says you only have to pay that if you didn't do a shmira p'chusa. So sof, it doesn't come out to be a kula by a mu'ed more than a tam. That's what Ravada Barava is saying here.
Yes, so then he should have to have a shmira ma'ul also.
No. Again, for the mu'ed, only a shmira p'chusa. In order, but even, that's what Ravada Barav is saying here. Yeah, but here the Gemara that brings that the Rav disagrees with this. Let's see. So Omar Rav, what Rav says on this, Rav said the following statement: Mu'ed lekeren yemin, an ox which is a mu'ed for the right horn, that it gores with its right horn, ain't a mu'ed lekeren smar. It's not a mu'ed to gore with its left horn. It could be a mu'ed for one and not a mu'ed for the other.
He's a righty.
Yeah? So Rashi over here explains, before we learn the Hemshech of the Gemara, Rashi explains what was Rav coming to say. The simple pshat would seem like what Rav is saying is that just like similar to what we had before, that when it comes to a mu'ed, just because it's a mu'ed to gore people, it doesn't mean it's a mu'ed for a behemoth. If it's a mu'ed for a camel, it doesn't mean it's a mu'ed to get into a fight with donkeys. It's different things. So Rav is saying the same thing, that the two horns of the ox, just because it's a mu'ed to gore with the right, it doesn't mean it's a mu'ed to gore with the left. That's what it seemed like Rav is saying. But Rashi says, the Gemara understands that that's not what Rav is saying, because that's obvious. That we already know from all the halachas that I just mentioned before, that a shai could be a mu'ed for one and not for the other. So obviously, just like by a human being, a person is right-handed and not left-handed. So obviously by a shai, you see that it's wild and it gores only with its right horn and not with its left horn. So obviously the right horn is stronger on the shai side, so it'll be only a mu'ed for that. That wasn't the chiddush of Rav. Rather, the chiddush of Rav is regarding what we're talking about in this sugya here, regarding the shmirah. And what Rav was saying is that you could be a mu'ed for the right horn, and therefore the level of shmirah for the right horn will be the shmirah p'chusa, like a mu'ed. But for the left horn, you won't need the same level of shmirah, because for the left horn, it's still a tam. It's regarding the shmirah that Rav was saying this. So the Gemara now clarifies what Rav meant by this. What? How's it possible what? How do you guard it? For the right horn, you have to guard it. For the left one, if he's blocking the door, so it's okay. But when it damages with the right horn, so you're gonna be responsible as a mu'ed. If it's for the left horn, you'll be responsible as a tam. But the question now is, Aliba Deman, according to which opinion that we had before did Rav say this? If it's according to Rav Meir, so for sure there's no distinction in the level of Shmira whether it's a Tam or a Mu'ud. Because Rav Meir said, Echad Tam ve'echad Mu'ud Shmira Mu'ulabai. Either way, it's the same Shmira for the Mu'ud and the Tam. So that's not what Rav was talking about, to make this distinction. On the other hand, but if it's according to Rabbi Yehuda, so according to Rabbi Yehuda, we could say that there's a distinction in the level of the shmira. By a muad, there's a shmira pechusa. By the tam, there's a shmira mola, and that's the difference between the right horn and the left horn. But still, the Gemara says, if that's what Rav meant, then why did he say it the way he said it? My irye keren smile. Why is he making a distinction between the right horn and the left horn? Afile biyamin. He could say the same halacha and make the same distinction just regarding the right horn itself. Why? Because nami is beitzad tamos, viz beitzad muedas. According to what Rav Ada bar Ava just said, so in the right horn where it is a mued, you could still make a distinction in the two parts of the payment. The first part of the payment, which is still the payment of the tam, so Rav Ada bar Ava said that remains in its place. For that, you're going to be chayiv if you didn't do a shmira mu'ula. And then for the second half of the payment, which is the payment that you add for the mu'id, for that you're going to be responsible if you didn't do a shmira pechusa. So why didn't he make this distinction regarding the right horn itself? You didn't have to make the distinction between the right horn and the left horn. Right? So the Gemara says, so you're going to have to say that Rav Taka argues with Rav Ada bar Ava. So Omri, they answer this, La'olam k'Rab Yehuda svirulei. K'Rab Yehuda, that is. K'Rab Yehuda. Really, Rav, that's making the distinction between the right horn and the left horn, that it's not the same kind of shmira for the right and the left, because the right is a mu'ed and the left is a tam. It's really following Rav Yehuda. But v'lei svirulei, the Rav Ada bar Ava. But he doesn't hold what Rav Ada bar Ava said. This point that Rav Ada bar Ava said, that even after it becomes a mu'ed, but the chumrah of the tam, b'mekayimai medes, that remains, and for that you're going to be chayiv if you didn't do a shmira mu'ula, he doesn't hold to that. And therefore, Bava Kama, this is exactly, he was trying to argue with Rav Ada bar Ava, and he was saying as follows, when is it possible to say that there's two levels of shmira, a shmira mu'ula for the tam, and a shmira pechusa for the mu'id, in one shayr that will only be possible if it's two different horns. Because one horn it's a mu'id, and the other horn it's a tam. Avo mu'id legamri, but if this shayr is a mu'id for both horns, then you can't say like Rav Ada bar Ava that the first half of the payment it's still a tam, and for that you need a shmira mu'ula. And for the second half of the payment, a shmira pechusa is good enough, and you'll be potted to pay the second half if you did a shmira pechusa. So that's exactly the point that Rav was trying to say, that once it becomes a mu'ed, so then the chumrah that there is by the tam goes off. And if you did a shmira pechusa by a mu'ed, so here, according to Rav, it actually does come out that by a mu'ed there's a kula over a tam. That by a mu'ed, if you do just a shmira pechusa, you're going to be totally potter. Not only from the second half of the payment, even from the first half of the payment. So here it comes out of Pella, that the shayr mu'ed is actually more lenient than the shayr tam. So they bring over here from the Meiri. The Meiri says that the svara for this is that by a shayr mu'ed, which is a shayr nakchen, so the reason why you have to do a shmira pchusa is because if everybody knows that it's a shayr nakchen, so then people should be careful with this. So everyone else should also be careful about this shayr tam, where it's known already, it was in the Bezdin, it was warned, with Adam, and everybody knows already that it's a shayr mu'ed, so people should be careful with this. So therefore, the owner of the shayr only has to do a shmira pechusa, and this comes out of kula by the shayr mu'ed over the shayr tam.